Hello friends, welcome to Health Music and Fitness channel. After a series of ECG vlogs, we have come back to ECG made easy. In this, we are learning about electrocardiography and we have completed 10 lessons on how to take an ECG, what are the different components of the ECG, the mechanical parts involved in taking the ECG, the electrodes, the way the placing of the electrode is, things like that. Then we have also learnt about heart rate, rhythm, axis, the three main components which we have to always consider when we interpret the ECG. Without looking at the heart rate, the rhythm and the axis, we will surely miss some finding in the ECG. So we have covered around 10 lectures in ECG made easy. Today is the 11th one. I am thankful to all of you who have watched the videos and clicked and liked and written some comments also. Thank you everybody, and this keeps us going, and it is very encouraging to see that the students are coming and reading and watching the ECG and they're commenting also, and I would appreciate if you can pass on this to everybody around you so that more people can benefit from the ECG made easy. Today we'll be talking about AV blocks, atrioventricular blocks. These blocks can be very mild in certain cases, and in certain cases they can progress and become very serious and life-threatening, and we'll discuss about these blocks in detail. So basically there are three types of AV blocks. First degree AV block, then there is a second degree AV block. Second degree AV blocks are of two types, type 1 and type 2. We'll come to that in detail after some time. Then there is a type 3 AV block, which is also called complete heart block, and it is a very fatal form of AV block, and usually the patient requires cardiac pacing. Even in certain types of second degree AV block, you may require a permanent pacemaker so that the patient doesn't suffer from prolonged asystole, which can cause permanent brain damage and cause hypoxia to the organs. Having said that, let's start with the first degree AV block. First degree AV block is, we are looking at the PR interval. In AV blocks, we are looking at the PR interval, and you must be able to hear this birds chirping because I am standing outside my house, because inside the fans were making a lot of noise and there was AC hum, and the laptop fan was creating that rumble sound, and I thought today I'll record in the open. So I'm standing in my backyard where there are a lot of birds, and it's very soothing and nice breeze is blowing. So in the first degree AV blocks, we look at the PR interval, and the PR interval, you know, is from the beginning of P to the beginning of the R wave, or if there are Q waves, we'll take from beginning of the P to the beginning of the Q wave, that is the PR interval. And if you remember that circle which I have taught you with most of the ECGs, it is not that the impulse is starting from SA node and it is reaching till the AV node, and that is the PR interval. No, it is not that. Mind you, R wave is formed when the ventricles contract. So basically the impulse starting from the SA node till the ventricles, that is the PR interval, and there is a small delay at the AV node. So in the first degree AV block, the PR interval is slightly prolonged, but every P wave is followed by a QRS complex, and that is the first degree AV block. Normal PR interval, I have told you, is less than 5 small squares, and 1 small square is 0.04 seconds in duration. So there are 5 small squares in 1 big square, so that is 0.04 into 5, that is 0.2 seconds. So in the first degree AV block, the PR interval is more than 0.2 seconds. Basically in the ECG you just focus if it is more than 5 small squares or is it more than 1 big square. So that's it. But every P wave has to be followed. Every P wave has to be followed by a QRS complex. Then only it qualifies for a first degree AV block. And you can see this first degree AV block in many ECGs. And basically you have to be very careful. Whenever the patient comes to you in your OPD for regular checkups, it is always wise to get the ECG done and see if the block is the same, or is it prolonging, or is it worsening to second degree AV block, or something like that. Otherwise you don't need to do anything for first degree AV block. But it is not normal to have a first degree AV block. Then is the second degree AV block. Okay, so now we come to type 2 AV block. In type 2 AV block there are two types: Mobitz type 1, Mobitz type 2. And type 1 is also called Wenke-Beck type of block. In Mobitz type 1 there is gradual prolongation of the PR interval and or the PQ interval, as the case may be. So the PR interval gradually starts to increase and it keeps on increasing, but every P wave is followed by a QRS complex till then. Then after some time the QRS is dropped. There is a P wave but there is no QRS complex in that complex. And then after that the following complex will have a short PR interval and the RR interval keeps on narrowing. So this is the characteristic of Mobitz type 1 AV block. Then in Mobitz type 2 block there is no prolongation of the PR interval as such, but suddenly the P wave is not followed by a QRS complex. This is the starting of a serious problem in that patient. These blocks are as fatal as complete heart blocks, and they also usually require cardiac pacing because they can worsen any time, and they signify sclerodegenerative disease. Usually the conducting system basically is getting spoiled, and slowly the patient will start having lot of arrhythmias and blocks and fatal blocks, and he can have a complete cardiac arrest. So in these cases also we will do elective cardiac pacing. And then there is a type 3 AV block, which is also called as complete heart block. In complete heart block there is no relation of the P wave with the QRS complexes. The classical description is you will see the P waves dancing through the QRS complexes. There are more of probably P waves and less of QRS complexes, but there is no relation of P with the QRS. And these patients are very serious. Usually they will require hospitalization and they will require pacing as soon as possible, and most of the times they will be on isoprenaline infusion or orsiprenalin tablets till they get a pacing, because not everywhere you can do cardiac pacing immediately. Like we are here in Andamans, and in this lockdown period there are no flights. You have to save the life, so we will give infusion therapy with isoprenaline and keep the heart rate up. So this is all about AV blocks. This was a short tutorial, and I will post some ECGs on this as and when we get. Thank you. If you like our videos, please do subscribe, comment on the videos and share our videos. Help us grow this channel. Thank you.